Welcome back to Breaking Banks. I'm your host, Brett King, and I am live in Dubai with Farbod Sadeghian. And he is the founder and CEO of a really cool space here in Dubai called TheBlock. Actually, you have a couple of campuses, right? You have
Yes.
TheBlock Street, and what's the other one?
It's TheBlock Node,
right?
Opening in the Convention Tower.
Okay, great. So first of all, let's start because this, like the name TheBlock, signifies a pretty clear connection to fintech, particularly with blockchain development and things like this. You've been very involved in that side of the community, and also obviously fintech. We just met one of the regulators here, VARA, who's doing some licensing for particularly for wallets right now. As an example of the sort of community you've built here. But I want to take a little bit of a step back, Farbod, and ask you, tell me about your Dubai story. You know, how did you come here, and when did you get the idea for setting up this space for the fintech community?
Sure. Thank you so much, Brett. Thank you for having me. My story started when I was in the university back in Austria, Vienna, and Linz. I started software development. I was a mechatronic student and then moved into software. In 2017, 18, a lot of people were coming to us, why you don't do smart contracts? And of course, being a software engineer and having a software company, then I thought, okay, I need to learn this. We need to get engaged more. It's a lot of market there. The journey started, and we did a lot of projects. One of the coolest projects we did was for Museum Belvedere. It's a city-owned museum in Austria. We did a NFT and investment project for Gustav Klimt. Was one of the KISS, one of the major art pieces that they have, and they showcased there. It was a great journey. Everything went well, and we tried to grow in the market, and the idea was I partnered with few companies in the US and in UK, and the whole aspect of it went broader. And 2.5 years ago, I came to Dubai to visit actually one of my business partners that he's living here, residing here. And I was in Dubai back in 2006, 7, and I knew a lot about Dubai, but then stopped. I don't know. I was too busy back in home. And I found out that the community here is like everybody who is doing something on the blockchain, virtual assets, fintech, cool stuff. They have a kind of activity here, whether it's their community or they do events, or they are most of the time, like every year, twice at least they show up. I found the opportunity that this is great. I can be in one place and meet great people as your good self over here, and without moving much and trying to gather everyone together and come up with new projects and growing this industry. And I was walking around and looking for locations, offices, and then I thought, why I don't go retail? Because nobody went retail space for virtual assets globally. And then I thought, okay, if I open the doors, and because people are shy to come in and ask how I can tokenize my hotel, how I can tokenize my art, I thought if we move into a retail space, and where we are now is one central. Most of the companies who are licensed here by VARA, the virtual regulatory, and then they are hosted here. And then it was really fun walking in this area. You meet the Binance team, you meet OKX team, Bybit team, everybody around. I thought, okay, I want to be here. And it was not easy to get the space, a lot of back and forths with what we do, and bringing retail to virtual asset in retail was a lot of questions. This is not a restaurant. This is not a shop. And then, but thanks to everybody around that they helped, and we got the space. We did the renovation, and now we are acting as a great community. Everybody who does something with AI, fintech, and digital assets combined, that's their home, and we would love to host them and discuss projects. And what we do advisory. We support them to get connected to other people. We support them to do anything that is they need in this industry. And we go from A to Z. It means you come here from regulatory side, issuance, distribution, global distribution, marketing, PR, all of those we would support out of here. And not everything we do. Of course, the ecosystem behind us, we connect to the people. with the great people in the industry to support each other and grow faster.
That sounds good. I mean, you start with the smart contract conversation. It's interesting. I was in Boston in 2013 at Swift's Cyburst conference, and we had Vitalik Buterin speak.
Okay.
And, I've known Vitalik since then, and amazing guy, but that's the first time I heard about smart contracts was back then. And now we're on the cusp of seeing this explosion of smart contracts, particularly around stable coins, for supporting autonomous business, because we won't be running autonomous business at scale on traditional core systems and fiat. We're going to be using stable coins and smart contracts and DAOs and things like that, more autonomy. So it's a really sort of interesting time to be in the space.
True.
But I also think one of the things that is interesting to see what's happened is when we started with the whole crypto space, it almost came as sort of a subset of fintech, but then became its own beast. But now with regulation coming into the space, it's almost like fintech and crypto are coming back together in some ways. So tell me about how you see that, things like VARA and the regulation of stable coins and virtual assets, how that, as it's become more regulated, how that sort of fits more in the macro fintech space.
Sure. Look, through this journey when we started, it was just like having the very tech side of guys creating great products. But the regulators, banks, they were like, okay, what's happening here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Through these years, the journey, actually, I find it really interesting that the journey is exactly as you mentioned, fintech and the crypto and all banking is coming together again. The regulation, of course, slows down the development of the great ideas that comes up, but it's necessary to make sure that everybody are safe with what they are doing. Especially one of the main reasons that I am in the UAE at this moment, it's the move was also to know the regulators, because in other jurisdictions, I don't want to name them, but it's really tough. You're always fighting a regulator that does not want to understand what is the need of the market. In the UAE, we have been lucky to have multiple regulators that they understand it, and specifically with VARA, which we met today, it was they listen to you. They go into the details. They listen to you. They want to know why you are doing such a process. And it has helped a lot that the evolution of the technology that we are building, all of us working together, the blockchain, the non-banking model, the transactions instantly, globally, less fees, and even stable coins. I see it really interesting moving, and the regulators ease our life here. But at the same time, I think without regulation, we wouldn't grow, because we would need still a lot of support of different governments. And to become globally, like as a product, we need the regulation. It's like it could work.
I mean, I think VARA is an interesting example. I don't know many. I mean, virtual assets in the US is sort of regulated by the SEC, but that's not a very neat. I would say the knowledge base of the SEC in particular to regulate this is an issue. So to have a VARA stands for Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, right?
Yes.
So to have a specific authority for that in the UAE is progressive. But at the same time, you also have an AI ministry now.
Yes.
You have a minister for AI. You have a minister for the future. I think as an economy, it's one of these places where they're really trying to think about the structural elements and get ahead of that. Whereas if you see the US's approach in particular, the US was all about trying to stop crypto and virtual assets in the early stage. And then when they saw that wasn't possible, then it was like trying to make them look like existing securities and treat them as existing securities rather than as something new. So I think it's really interesting to see this as as example of an economy where they're saying, all right, well, this is something net new. We need a new type of regulatory framework for that. We need new government support for that. It's pretty impressive to see that as a
I
development.
see it actually as a great example for other countries to follow, because you cannot go to the traditional ways things are done and then look at the crypto or blockchain industry at the same way. And the way the UAE functions, that they create this new regulators, new ministry positions and everything, it shows that they are welcoming you for this industry. We can grow. Obviously needs to be regulated. We totally understand. But at the same time, there's a regulator which speaks the same language that I'm speaking.
Yeah.
It's not that I go and compare it with a securities offering on a New York Stock Exchange. I don't know much about it, but at this side I know, and it's really more convenient to talk to people that they speak the same language, that ease our life, at least to say what is the demand, what we need. And one more thing is to be able to knock on the doors of a regulator and just drop in and say, this is what I want to do and how you think about it. That's also another advantage that we see here. And
they do. I think the regulators here tend to be a little bit more consultative in that respect, whereas, I mean, in the regulatory environment I'm used to dealing with, even, we were talking about Movin before in the early days of Movin Bank in the US. The most common posture for a regulator is to say no.
Exactly.
That's not the way we do things here. But when you've got this evolution that's happening, and it's happening so rapidly now, not just in the crypto and the stablecoin space, but AI in terms of how that's going to impact business. If you are saying, no, we have to just continue to use the old frameworks that we developed in the 60s and 70s to reinforce this completely new world, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And we have seen it, the wrong implementation and technology, different places in the world. We saw what the damage could be.
Yeah.
And no, I think now the future is, I mean, I cannot talk about future in front of you. But it's
of course. No, we love talking about the future.
The future and the new way of people using their mobile phones, the transactions, and stablecoins. Stablecoins for me is a very interesting matter. I don't understand how many stablecoins we need. That's the only thing I'm always like, a lot of great friends of mine, they come to me and say, we are launching our own stablecoin. I understand it, but I don't know if we need that many. I think would be a very currency-based. And I hope also for a future that we don't have much of currencies, that more a global currency. Now we are very US-based, USDT, USDC. Then we have the local coins. Each currency is creating the same. I think you're not solving your problem with only digitalizing the currency. It would be some way that more transparent globally we could have financial instruments. That would be my hope, and to see the stable coins moving towards that.
I think that's we're going to move away from fiat clearly because it's not going to work with AI. You have sort of two macro use cases. You have your local market application and you have your cross-border application. For cross-border, I absolutely agree with you. It doesn't make sense to have, all these separate stable coins that you're going to have to then have the same Forex issues that you deal with. Whereas if you can have some sort of consensus-based, I could see something like the Chinese yuan, the CBDC, becoming a central bank digital currency for cross-border trade with the BRICS nations, for example, right? Or, becoming a template for something that becomes a BRICS virtual currency. As an example, I could see EU doing an EU-wide sort of stable coin or CBDC. That makes sense. But then when you get into global trade outside of that, then, is it going to be USDT, USDC? Is there something else? One of the risks of the US infrastructure right now is people want to go away from US dollar linked stuff because of the risk of sanctions.
Exactly.
And USDT and USDC don't actually remove the risk of sanctions, per se. So,
And we hear a lot, people got their accounts blocked for sanction-related risks.
Yeah.
And that one, again, doesn't give us the freedom or the transparency. And then the problem is to whom you talk.
Yeah.
I mean, when the wallet doesn't work, to whom you want to talk? The wallet provider doesn't have much to say.
Yeah.
I think connecting to USDT authorities, it's gonna not be that fast.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's not quick. And then, I think it's a lot of change in that. But I feel very happy, actually, the way the industry moves, because before we had islands, now even the AI guys, everybody are talking about AI, but it's good that the AI, fintech, blockchain, all they are putting hand in hand to support the different industries.
Yeah, they're realizing that it has to be, we're building new infrastructure, and you can't build that in isolated pockets.
Exactly.
You have to be.
Islands doesn't work anymore. The idea would be to have everything together, supporting it. And I see that because here we have a lot of pitches. Startups come, pitch their ideas, and then I'm always hanging around looking what's going on in the market. It's really impressive to see that collaboration is moving back. Before it was not that much.
Let me come back to the space that you've created here in the block. And just for people who are joining us, from the States, Singapore, Australia, UK, that might be coming here to Dubai, just explain for us the purpose of this space. You said you created this space in the retail area, but there's a lot of virtual asset and blockchain and fintech crowd around here, as you mentioned some of them. But take us through the space and the purpose that you built into the design here.
Yeah, the idea was the retail was easy access, no registration required, open the door, enter. What we have here is starting with a co-working spaces that is handled as a kind of healthy juice bar plus co-working space plus all the facilities you need to actually work under the day working hours. And then the idea was to have a launch pad. And the launch pad is a large screen, waved screen, and with a buzzer that we are simulating something like New York Stock Exchange, ring the bell. We have ship horns here. You click on it and the sound goes on and you can launch. And because of everything have digital screens in the walls, easy for you to have your own branding, everything, your team celebrating fundraising, joint ventures, everything could be hosted here. Also speeches that they're standing. Then we have a kind of pitch panel discussion platform, capacity of 60 to 80 people. And then again, a full screen integrated, speakers, microphones, everything ready to go. The idea is a lot of startups need places to pitch their investors. Some, they want to discuss about their idea. And that's the open space we have. You can anytime book it or come in and have your crowd enjoying that. Then, of course, meeting pods, another way of having the whole co-working space. And then the podcast studio that is fully operated all day with our team, and it can be used. And when at the end, this is where everyone knows us. And then what we offer, we do business development as a service. People that they are globally located, they want to have the GCC market, and they don't have specific staff, or they don't want to spend that much, or they want to get connected faster. That's what we do. Big brands internationally, they say, Farbod, we want to have one person there hosted with you guys, connect them to grow our business there. That's one of the services. The other one is that they say, okay, globally, we want to issue something. It's a digital asset and mixed with AI, fintech. How we do it, we structure that for them. And because of the ecosystem which is behind the block, then we support them to get to the right people. I mean, if we do it, we do it. If we don't, we have the right partner. And always people say, why should you work with the block? And say, I save you a lot of money and time, because that's all what we do. Because I did already enough mistakes, and it was the start of it. We didn't know to whom we go. At least we have strategically in each category what you need. We always have the right partner. That is, we know them, we worked with them, and we know their performance. And that's very time-saving. And that would be, I think, for every project very crucial to save the time to launch. And the rest of it is more or less entertainment, joining the community, meeting with people.
Well, you have the pod studio, which we're in right now. But what's your favorite part of the space?
Actually, personally, the launchpad. I love that feeling of celebrating something with a huge screen. And
so it's a big wraparound, curved,
Yes.
convex screen.
Yes.
You've got the ship horn. You've also got place for plenty of people to sit and hear. It's
That would be my favorite. And I love more and more companies to celebrate within here. We called this one the Block Street. It looks like a street of all these engagements. Then we have Block Node is more meeting rooms and auditorium and convention tower, also retail space at the entrance of the convention of Dubai. And the third one coming up in Abu Dhabi, Reem Island, also
Nice.
retail space. That one is called the Block Capital.
Oh, nice.
And is because it's Abu Dhabi,
It's the capital.
of capital, then we just named it. That one, very similar style as here, but more concentrated on pitching and investor lounge and so on. And
Fantastic.
That's the journey.
Well, Farbod, it's been a pleasure to be in your space here today. We thank you for your strategic partnership with Breaking Banks as well and Provoke Media. You were a big supporter of the Futurist Summit last year as our media partner there. So it's really exciting to see the space finally coming together. And if you're coming to Dubai, make sure you check out the block of the various types. But if you're in downtown or One Central area near the Museum of the Future, definitely come and check out the Block Street. And how can people find out more information about the block, Farbod?
The website is D-Block is the-block.com. And on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere, The Block and The Block Global. And would be more than happy to answer questions or having a call. Thank you so much, Brett, for having me on the podcast. It's always a pleasure having you guys with us.
It's great to have you here and really enjoy the space. So we'll be hearing more about the block, I'm sure. Thank you, guys. We're going to sign off for now. You're listening to Breaking Banks. We'll be back. That's it for another week of the world's #1 fintech podcast and radio show, Breaking Banks. This episode was produced by our US-based production team, including producer Elizabeth Severance, audio engineer Kevin Hersham. If you like this episode, don't forget to tweet it out or post it on your favorite social media, or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, or wherever it is that you listen to our show. Those actions help other people find our podcast, and in return, that helps us build an audience that can be supported by sponsorship so we can continue to provide you with our award-winning content every week. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you on Breaking Banks next week.